this is one of the feature which is available in the public preview. This is not there in the general availability. But let's take some time and see like what is there in this ALM accelerator for Power Platform and how it is going to help the Power Platform implementation projects. Okay. And thanks for all the sponsors for having for this wonderful event. And here's the quick agenda of today's session. First, we'll see like what is ALM, what are the key areas of ALM and key things to implement the ALM, and what comes with this ALM accelerator for the Power Platform package. And then we'll get into the question and answer session. Before getting into the topic, just let's take a few minutes and explain about myself. Myself are Dharanidharan Balasubramaniam. People call me Dharani. I'm based out of Sydney, Australia. I work as a senior manager with Capgemini, Australia. I'm a Microsoft MVP in the business applications area for the last 2 years, and also I'm a Microsoft certified trainer too. And also, I'm leading the Malaysia and Tamil Nadu Dynamics 365 and Power Platform user group. And also, I'm part of Asian's business applications user group. Apart from this, I do effectively write a technical blogs on Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform area, especially on the CI/CD for Dynamics 365 and the ALM for the Power Platform. And I will put my blog links in the chat window, and also I will put my LinkedIn handle in the chat window. Please feel free to connect with me, guys. If you guys stuck anywhere on the Power Platform or the Dynamics 365 CE, always please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy and glad to assist you guys on your queries. And we'll get into the topic. We'll see like what is ALM, what all the key areas of ALM, and why the ALM is so important, and what we are going to achieve out of ALM. And then we'll see like ALM accelerator for the Power Platform. As I mentioned, today's topic is all about this ALM accelerator for Power Platform. But before we go deeper into this tool itself, I need to explain the concept of ALM itself so that you can understand and answer by yourself why it matters in today's condition, and hopefully you also can experiment, apply it, and can giving a feedback to us if it is whether it is a beneficial or not. The first slide of this session speaks about this literally the ALM definition. Application lifecycle management is the life cycle of the application itself. The keywords, if you ask me, like what is the keywords in the ALM? Governance, development, and maintenance. These are three are the key areas of ALM, which also includes the requirement management, software architecture, the development, testing, maintenance, change management, support, continuous integration, project management, deployment, the release management, and the governance. So these are all the things will come into the picture if you to speak about the ALM. And these are the three main key areas of ALM: governance, which includes the requirement management, resource management, nurturing, and system administration activities such as data security, user access, change tracking, review, audit, deployment control, rollback. All this comes under governance part. And application development includes identifying the current problems, planning, designing, building, and testing the application and its continuous improvements to the application. This area includes the traditional developer and the app maker roles. And next, we do have the maintenance phase. It includes the deployment of the app and the maintenance of the optional and the dependent technologies. And to make it easier, you can see in the ALM process, like we do starting like it is like this ALM process is of like total seven stages. First, it starts with the requirement management, and first, so what we do is like we will sit with the business, and we will do some workshop with the business, and we'll try to do the discovery and analysis phase. We'll sit with the business, we'll understand the business and put those business into a fit gap analysis sheet, and then we'll be working on some functional design document, functional specification document, technical design document. So all those things we'll put it into a sheet actually. Once everything is done, then the implementation phase come into the picture. So what all the thing which is there in our mind, we are going to build those ideas into an application. So this is the real phase. This is the build phase where we are going to build the complete, transform the idea into the application itself. Once this is done, and parallelly the testers also will start working on the test cases and preparing the test scenarios, all those things. And next we do have the testing phase where the developers, the testers will be the completing the testing process, and side by side they will be providing the feedback, and the developers will be working on the bugs, and they will be providing an update. Okay. And by doing all those things, we need to have some software configuration management. This is also one of the stages of ALM. What this software configuration management will do is like where the development team organizes, manages, and controls the changes in the documents, codes, other entities during the application development lifecycle. So during this phase, this is one of the stages in the ALM process. In this, like completely, see, we'll be working on multiple documents. We'll be working on the metadata customization changes, and we'll be writing lots and lots of codes in order to transform the idea into an application. Correct. But we need to have all those backup in one place, so that like if something, if you want to roll back, or if you want to check the track of what changes has been done on what date, or if you want to move back to the previous stage, all those things, we should have some code repository, right? So that code repository and maintaining all the documents and the code will happens in this software configuration management phase. And the next, operations and maintenance. So this is also one of the phases in the ALM process. And the process of monitoring, management, and the development of the applications will begin. In DevOps, this ALM phase, it covers the release, config, and the monitor in short term. And in the stage, you will find and resolve bugs. This phase helps you to plan and prioritize the next updates to the product. Okay. Now these are the five stages. Now next we do have the testing phase. In this testing phase, the testers, they need to verify that the application is complying with the requirements defined in the initial step of the process. At the initial step of the process, what as part of the discovery and the analysis phase, we'll be coming up with the fit gap analysis sheet, and we'll be taking those each and every row from the fit gap analysis sheet, and we'll put those as a user story into our Azure DevOps or whatever the collaboration tool we are using. Will put there as a user story. Okay. So once the complete development is done, so the testers will pick the user story from there, and they will validate the application against the acceptance criteria which is defined over there. This is what will happen in the sixth stage. They also need to ensure that even if this is not properly defined in the requirement phase, this application will meet the user expectations and the other stakeholders that will require to support throughout its life cycle. And next, we do have the maintenance or the user experience. It is traditionally the longest stages of the ALM process. Still, it is also the one where the participation of the testing and the development team is usually the lowest, because the end user will come into the picture. They will validate the application. It's kind of the UAT or the production phase where the end user will come into the picture, and they will validate the application, and they will provide the feedback to the implementation team. After the application is developed, the roles of the business users will comes to the play. They will check the entire application, and they will share their experiences based on the feedback, and the final application would be delivered based on whatever the feedback they are providing it to us. Okay. And these are the key areas of the ALM. Okay. And now let's take some more minute and understand like why the ALM is important. The first one is regarding the good visibility. So when you applying a changes and being a track in the source control, everyone can verify who do the changes, it is makes sense to change in that component, all those things. Good visibility will be there if everything is there in the place, and also you will get a strong governance in your Power Platform implementation. And the next one is about the communication, and the communication would be effective with the help of the Azure DevOps. For example, if you are working on any of the work items, and if you are having any clarifications with the business, and you no need to put a separate email to the business, you no need to switch between the multiple systems in the same user story. You can go to the comments and you can tag the people that we need, and what all the communication you want to do to the business, and you can put all your query over there and you can pass it to the business to address all your queries. So if you are doing that way, what we are achieving is like we don't want to switch it to multiple places, and also all the communication will be there in a one place. It won't be scattered across the multiple systems, so everything would be in one place, so that if any new user or if anyone management comes into the picture, and if they see look into the user story, they will get a good visibility of when this has been created and how many times it has been raised with the business, whether they have addressed your queries or not. So all those things would be tracked in a one place. So that's the reason we are saying if you have the ALM process in place, the communication would be much effective and it is easy to track. And similarly, like how I explained about this user story, similarly, like once everything is done and if we push it to Git, and we can know the history of all the changes, code, the documentation, what all the things are there. So we'll get a good hold of it, and we'll get a good history of all the changes. And the other thing is like you will get the cost effective also. The purpose of this ALM is to um, how to make everything automated. Okay, once you make everything automated, then you no need to do everything again and again. So of course, once the till the automation is happening, it will put some good amount of time. But once the automation is there in the place, you no need to do the same activity again and again. So obviously that is going to be a cost effective for you, and also it is going to be save a lot and lots of time. So this is why I'm saying this ALM is so important, and we need to implement the ALM for our Power Platform implementations. Okay, and next we do have this key things to implement the ALM in our Power Platform projects. So these are all the three main things so important for implementing the ALM in the Power Platform. If we speak about the Power Platform in particular for the ALM, we need to know about these three components, how we can create until hand over the app to the end user. The first one, first and foremost thing is environments. Environments are a space to store, manage, and share your organization's business data, apps, and business processes. They also serves as a container to separate the apps that might have different roles, security requirements, or the target audiences. Each environment can have only one Microsoft Dataverse database. So this environment strategy, each and every organization will have their own strategy. Some organization will have like a dev, test, UAT, pre-prod, prod. Some organization will have like a dev, UAT, prod. Some organization will have like dev, test, UAT, and the production environment. Yeah. So the production, from the name itself, we literally come to know that this is the environment which we are going to put into an operation for their intended use. And rest other things are there: sandbox environments, non-production environments. So sandbox environments is an any non-production environment of a dataverse. We call it as a sandbox environment, which is isolated from the production. We'll be making all the customization changes in the sandbox environment, in the dev environment, and we'll be using the solution as a container, and we'll be promoting the changes from the one environment to the another environment. Okay. And in the Power Platform, we everyone will be seeing the default environment. A single default environment is automatically created for each tenant, and it is shared by all the users in the tenant. But we need to always, we should not work on the default environment based on our requirement. We need to cater our own environments like dev, UAT at the production environment, and we need to start working on the environment. Once you are done with the environment strategy, and the next and foremost thing which you need to think is like access. Who should have access to all the environments? How the people should have, which stakeholder should have access to the, which stakeholder should have access to UAT, which stakeholder should have access to the production. So that we need to be very keen on it. Only the developer should have access to the dev environments. Testers should be having the access to the testing environments, and the business user should be having access only to the product, the UAT and the production environments. Whereas like the developers or the testers, we should not be providing the access to them in either in the UAT or the production environment. The reason why I'm saying is like sometimes what the developers they might do is like in order to ease the easily complete the deployment process, sometimes the developers directly they will log into the UAT or the production environment, and they will start doing the customization directly into the managed solution. So the unmanaged layer will get sit on top of the managed solutions, and whenever if you promote the managed solutions from the uh, sandbox to your UAT or the production environments, it won't go and override properly. So this every time I see as a hindrance. So it's always we need to educate the developers not to touch the UAT or managed environments directly, like UAT or the production environments. We need to educate them, and also it's better like we should not be providing the access to them. So yeah, if they are doing it, and if you even though if you build have a good ALM process in place, then there is no point of having a healthy ALM process itself, because if they are touching it over there, and if they are making a changes directly, then obviously that will spoil the complete process. So we need to be very careful on it. And the next, solutions. Yeah, good understanding of the solution framework and its capabilities is required to implement a robust application, the lifecycle management process. In its most simplistic form, a solution is a container of the application components. A solution is an easy way to group a components and move between the one environments to another environments. A solution can be used to ensure all the new components have an universal naming prefix, and it is the method to author, package, maintain, and deliver the functional configurations and the custom code that extends the behavior of the Power Platform. And the solutions are of two types: the managed and the unmanaged solutions. So yeah, so the developers when they are working on the dev boxes, those solutions would be an unmanaged solutions. Once the development is completed, then we should export the managed solutions from the dev, and we need to promote it to higher environments as a managed solutions. And next, we do have the source control, and we need to maintain all our things into our version control. Source control is also known as a version control. It's a system that maintains and secure development assets and track changes to those assets. Change tracking is especially important when multiple app makers and developers are working on the same set of files. A source control system also gives you the ability to roll back changes or the restore the deleted files. And the source control system helps organization achieve the healthy ALM, because the assets maintained in the source control system are the single source of truth, or in other words, the single point of access and the modification for your solutions. For the Power Platform, we can use either GitHub or the Azure DevOps for the solution control, where it is using Git in the behind. When talking about the source control, we also need to implement the branching and the merging strategy, but we can talk more about this in the future. If you have any questions regarding this one, you can ask me, but I'm not going to cover in detail about the branching and the merging strategy. But in short, like we have environments to work on and deploy. Solution is being used to package all the changes so we can back up, deploy to another environment. While source control is our repository and also can be used to create the automation when we want to deploying the changes through the ALM process or the CI/CD process. Okay, so these are the key things which we need in order to implement the ALM for the Power Platform. Okay. These are the tools and apps used with the ALM process. The Power Platform Admin Center, Power Apps, DevOps, version control system, configuration migration tool in order to migrate the master data, and package deploys in order to unpack and the packet, the solution packager, and Power Platform CLI components to play around with the pipelines and then PowerShell modules. So these are all the tools you can use for in order to build or achieve the ALM for the Power Platform process. Okay. And if you ask me what is there in this ALM for ALM Accelerator, so there are certain things that we need to understand uh, before getting into this the tool. Like this ALM Accelerator is a combination of Azure DevOps pipelines and the Canvas app and the model driven app. Okay, so they have given mainly three components. One is like a Canvas app, and the second one is like a model-driven app, and the third one is like a Azure pipelines. So in the Canvas app is especially for the target audience of makers and the advanced makers. So the citizen developers and the developers, the pro developers. So whenever the citizen developers or the pro developers, once they complete the user story, so they can go to this Canvas app and they can perform their commit a solution, deploy a solution, import a solution, or delete a solution. All those functionalities, they will be able to do it from this ALM accelerator. They don't need to switch between the multiple places in one Canvas app. Like they will be able to perform, they can switch between the multiple systems and they can do all those process from a one Canvas app. This Canvas app in turn in the backend it is calling the Azure pipelines. These Azure pipelines are set of YAML pipelines which has been built by the Microsoft in order to achieve this complete ALM process. And this ALM accelerator, it exports the solution from the source environment, unpack it, putting those unpacked files into one code repository, and then picking those files and packing it into a managed solution and pushing those managed solution into an UAT environment, production environment, and what all the things you are doing it manually in order to achieve the deployment. All those things are completely available in this ALM accelerator. So you can leverage this ALM accelerator and you can easily achieve this at an quicker phase actually. Like mainly the target audience, they are mainly focusing on makers, the advanced app makers and the administrators. You can see the target audience here. So this administrator is nothing but the target user for setting up the ALM accelerator for the Microsoft Power Platform is an administrator, and he should be having a deeper understanding of the Power Platform environment, solution, Azure pipelines, and familiarity with the Azure Active Directory and the Microsoft Dataverse administration. All those things this administrator should be aware of it. But whereas this advanced app makers, the makers who are more comfortable with the advanced concept of using the Git, such as creating a pull request, branching, merging, to work in a familiar way with the source control and the deployment automation. They are classifying those kind of people as an advanced app makers. And the new app makers, who are unfamiliar with the ALM concept, but they want to save their work along with the history of changes, and also they want to share the work with the other users in the team. So if they are falling under that particular category, and those people, Microsoft has defined those people as a new app makers, advanced app makers, and the administrator. These three are the target audience of using this ALM accelerator app. And here is the URL for setting up the ALM accelerator for the Power Platform. And I'm not going to cover this how we are going to set up this ALM accelerator, because that is going to be a detailed and a lengthy process. So we will not be able to cover in this complete section. So I will share the link in the chat window, like how you can set up this ALM accelerator for the maker components. See, only this is like I feel like in this ALM accelerator, only the setting up is a tedious process, but once you set up the things in a place, then it is really easy to use. We have set up for one of our customers, yeah, like it is. We have just tested for one of our customer. Like the setting up this ALM accelerator, it took like a good amount of time, but once after implementing it, it's the using is like eating a sugar, so it's pretty much easy. Like everything is there in the one place, you will be able to achieve the deployments at a quicker phase. So I will share this link in the chat window, and you guys try to leverage this link and try to set up this ALM accelerator. And if you face any issues, then please feel free to get in touch with me. I will be happy and glad to assist you. And this is about the high level diagram of how this ALM accelerator looks. So you can see here in the left hand side, you can see this maker team, and this maker team are the individual developer environments. So you can see here the multiple developer environments. They will be working on it, and the makers, they work in the isolation in the personal development environments. Their interaction with the ALM process is via the accelerator canvas app. So this is the app, and here this makers is going to be of two types. One is like a new maker, and the other one is going to be an advanced maker. And this is the 1D process. They will be having a manual interaction. So they will come here, and they will do the manual interaction with the Canvas app, and they will perform whatever the operations they want to do. Like they want to commit a solution, or if they want to deploy a solution, or if they want to import a solution, or if they want to update any connection references, if they want to activate any flows, or if they want to share the app with any Azure Active Directory group. So all those things, they will be able to do it from here. Okay. And makers use this ALM Accelerator Canvas app for their ALM tasks, such as import a solution from a source control, export the changes to a source control, and create the pull request to merge those changes. And this ALM accelerator templates for the Azure DevOps pipeline, it facilitates the automation of the ALM task based on what all the maker is going to interact with this ALM accelerator from the Canvas app. Okay. And see, this is just a medium, like only the buttons, all those things will be there. In turn, if you perform any operations in the backend, it is calling the pipelines which is built on the Azure DevOps, and it is doing the complete automation process. And the complete automation process runs in the Azure DevOps. And here, this is how like Microsoft in the ALM accelerator, they have the downstream environments as a three environments. One is like a validation, test, and the production environments. So this Microsoft has considered as a three-stage deployment to production, but this template can be customized to fit specific needs and scenarios, because each and every organization, as I mentioned earlier, each and every organization will have their own environment strategy, and this template can be customized as per your organization standards or the organization requirements. And this ALM Accelerator for Power Platform is a Canvas app that sits on top of the Azure DevOps pipeline to provide a simplified interface for the makers to regularly commit and create the pull requests for the development work, whatever they are doing it in the Power Platform environments. This combination of this Azure DevOps pipelines and this Canvas app and the model driven app makes the full ALM accelerator for the Power Platform solutions. And these pipelines and apps are the reference implementations. So they were developed for use by the development team for the COE starter toolkit internally in the Microsoft, but have been open sourced and released in order to demonstrate how the healthy ALM can be achieved in the Power Platform implementations. So they can be used as a customized for the specific business scenarios. Initially, like Microsoft, what they have done is like they have used this process for the internal COE starter kit development team, and they felt like one point of time this is at least like we'll go to the people and we'll show them like how the healthy ALM can be achieved in the Power Platform, and that's how they built this ALM accelerator, and they have put it into a public preview now. So it is there in the public preview, so you guys can start using this public preview, and you provide the valuable feedback to the Microsoft so that it would be helpful for them to bring it to their general availability. Yeah, lot more things that they will be bringing on top of it since it is in public preview, but still it has lots and lots of features. But yeah, for sure, like while bringing to the public the general availability, they will add like more stabilized and a lot more features would be added into this ALM accelerator. So I'm super excited for their general availability. And these are the pipelines. And currently, before getting into the pipelines, I will just pay. There is one important note: this accelerator supports only the Azure pipelines, and this Azure pipelines are set of YAML pipelines intended to be used with Azure DevOps. And this reference pipelines are written to demonstrate the end-to-end ALM process for the Power Platform solutions. And this pipelines uses the task provided by Microsoft and some third-party tasks and some PowerShell scripts to automate all of the ALM scenarios, okay, such as like unpacking, source controlling, building, and deploying a solution from the development environment. And these pipelines support the ability to deploy to many environments, but currently they only demonstrate the ALM process used by the COE starter kit development team, but you can extend it to various environments. You just need to uh, update the pipelines, and it's just a template. See, however you are defining your environment strategy, you just need to work on those, updating those, tweaking those things as per your environment strategy. And what all the things, if you ask me, like what all the things you can achieve with this help of this pipelines, you can import a solution, select an existing solution from the source control, and you can import it into an instance, and you can import a build of the solution from the source control. And in a delete a solution, you can export an unmanaged solution from the development environment as a managed, and then you can import the managed solutions into the development environment. And if you want to delete the managed solution from the development environment, all those things are possible with this delete a solution. And then commit a solution, so you can create a new branch based on the existing branch, and you can export an unmanaged solution from a development environment, and you can unpack that solution to a human readable format, which is nothing but an XML files. And you can store that XML files, so the folder structure into one git repository branch. So this commit will literally do that operation. You just, this in the makers, they just go to the canvas app and they just click on the commit a solution, but automatically this pipeline, the YAML pipeline, will take care of connecting to source environment, exporting it, unpacking it, everything. It will take care of it automatically. Yeah. And then deploy a solution. You can create a pull request in the Azure DevOps for your new branch, and you can run a build on the pull request via the branch policy to validate your exchanges. You can create your own branch policy, like the solution checker in the Power Platform. The solution checker is one of the important thing. Like once you are done with the development activity, it's mandatory that you can run the solution checker, and you can see like uh, how how you are maintaining with the, how you are maintaining your customization with the out of box Microsoft rules, whether all your customizations are going against or validating against the Microsoft out of box rules or not, whether you are violating any rules. All those things you can easily, you'll be able to validate with the help of the solution checker. That will give you the results, and it will give you the recommendations also how you can overcome that particular violations. And on top of the solution checker, you can have your own branch policy. If you want to add like a static code analysis such as style cop, fx cop, or JSLint, or if you want to add the sonar cube, check marks, whatever the things you want to add as part of your branch policy, you will be able to add it in your branch policy to require more checks, because each and every organization will have their own coding standards and metrics. So in order to achieve your own organization coding standards and metrics, and if you want to apply any policy, then you will be able to apply a policy or while deploying a solution to another environment. And you can create a pull request, and you can assign that pull request to the reviewer. Before assigning to the reviewer, you can run all those branch policies in order to make sure like what all the committed components from the developer is like fully valid or not. Okay. And then we do have a deploy a solution to an environment, and you can create a trigger for when your solution is deployed to an environment. And then you can build a managed solution, and you can handle the upgrading also with this. So all those things you will be able to do it. Actually, you can handle upgrading or updating the solutions, based on the changes in the solution, and you can handle the setup of the solution, the target environment, like deploying the master data and updating the connection references, environment variables, sharing the apps with the Azure AD groups, and if you want to activate a flows, or if you want to create a teams in the Dataverse for the Azure AD groups, or if you want to update the solution component ownership, all those things are achievable easily through the ALM Accelerator. And all those things, and the one important thing which we need to notice here is like you don't need to switch between the multiple systems. In earlier days, what we do is like as part of a poster deployment guide, we'll be putting all those points into one document. Once the solution is imported, then we'll go through all those points one by one in the poster deployment guide, and we'll be doing all those things manually. We'll switch it to multiple places, but now that is nothing. No, all those things are not required now. Everything is there in one place. You just need to go to the ALM Accelerator app. There you are having all the capabilities, and you will be able to achieve everything from there. So you don't need to switch between the multiple systems and all. And this ALM Accelerator app, now we'll see about this ALM Accelerator app. Yeah, I am not going to get into the demo due to the time availability. I have taken the screenshots of it. I will go through the screenshots. So that's what I'm planning to do it. And this ALM Accelerator app, I have the Canvas app that included with this ALM Accelerator. It is just a convenience layer on top of this accelerator pipelines. This Canvas app allows the Microsoft Power Platform makers to easily invoke these Azure pipelines to perform their complex tasks without switching between the Power Platform environments and the Azure DevOps. Okay, the goal of this app is to provide the makers with a friction-free way of performing the common development and the ALM task. Like it is targeting the multiple personas, as I mentioned earlier. It is targeting the new maker, advanced maker, team maker, administrators, and it also target multiple organization projects and the repos in the Azure DevOps. And you get the latest version of the solution into the development environment by importing the solution, and you can remove the existing work that needs to be rebased from the source control by deleting a solution, and you can push the changes from the development to the source control by committing a solution, and you can submit the changes tied to arc item for review by creating a pull request, and you can monitor the progress of the solutions moving between the one environment to another environment. All those things are achievable in this Canvas app. I have added a few screenshots. It's like, yeah. So this is like, see, if you go to this configuration settings, in the configure deployment settings, here you will be able to see the connection references, environment variables, Canvas app, group teams, flows, and the custom connectors. So you just go there, and you will be able to do all those operations from here once the deployment is done, and you will be able to update all the deployment settings from here. So here you can select the environment you just wanted to configure, and once that is done, then you will be able to do the rest other things, the connection references. If you have a permission to create the connections in the target environment, then the plus button is displayed here. In the right hand side, you can see the plus button here. And after creating a new connection, if you select the refresh in the upper right corner to get the latest list of connections, as you can see here. Okay, and to select an existing connection in the target, select the connection from the drop down list. You will be able to select the connections from this drop down list. And to open the connection in the target, you just select the name of the status of the connection, then you will be able to open that particular connection. And if you do not have a permission to create a connection in the target environment, and the plus button will be disabled here, you will not be able to see the plus button, and then you need to request a connection, and with that you will be able to do it. And then next we do have the environment variables, and here is the environment variables. And this screen lists all the environments variables in your solution, and also it allows the users to set the value of the environment variables in the downstream environment. For standard environment variables such as a string, number, JSON, enter the value in the text box to the right of the environment variable name. For the data source environment variable, select the appropriate data source from the drop down list to use in the downstream environment. This is pretty simple. And then next we do have a Canvas app. Yeah, the screen will list all the apps in your solution, and it allows the user to share the apps in the downstream environment with the Azure AD group. And you can select this drop down. It will list all the Azure AD groups which is associated. So you can select it, and you can provide the permission here. So whether you want to give can view, can edit, or can view and share, these three are the different kind of permission will come in this drop down list, and you can select the appropriate permission. And if you click on save and close, yeah, this is also pretty much simple. And then we do have a group team, and this group team screen, it allows the users to configure the new Dataverse teams of type AAD security group that can be used for sharing the flows and the custom connectors. So you can click on the plus icon to add a new group team configuration. You can enter a new team name, and you can select the AAD group that the team should be linked to, and you can select the security role as a required, and the list of the security roles is based on those available in the currently selected development environment. Make sure to add any custom security role to the solution to ensure the security roles are available in the target environment. If you're not adding it, then for sure like it won't get listed into the target environment. And user can add multiple group team configuration by clicking on this plus to add rows. You can click on this plus button and you can add the multiple rows, and you can start creating it. And then flows, the screen lists all the flows in this environment, and you'll be able to see the owner, team sharing, activation, user, and if you want to activate and if you want to order the column of the flows. So all this will be able to achieve possible here, and you can see here whether it is activated or not, and if you want to activate and order the flows. So using this, you will be able to perform all those things from here. You can change the owner, team sharing, activation, user, all those things. So you'll be able to do it from one place. You no need to see if you want to do all those things individually, then you need to switch it between the multiple places. But since this we are having this ALM accelerator in place, we no need to switch between the multiple things. That's one of the advantages. And then we do have the custom connectors. This screen lists all the custom connectors in the solution. User can configure the sharing of the custom connectors to the Dataverse teams in the downstream environment, and use the sharing drop down list to select the Dataverse team to share the custom connector to. And this drop down will list the Dataverse teams in the downstream environment and the Dataverse teams configured in the group teams configuration. So only this will be listed over here, and you will be able to select the certain thing and you can do the save and close. Okay, so these are the capabilities which is available for the makers in the ALM accelerator. On top of it, for the advanced makers, we do have this request history, and there is a one tab called request history. If you go there, over there, like you will be able to see like who has requested and what is the status of this request and what is the action, who has requested this, and what is the destination and what is the profile this has used. All those things we will be able to monitor it from the request history. And this is for the advanced app maker experience. In the advanced app maker experience, so this is how it looks. So they can commit a solution, they can deploy a solution. Once the developer completes the user story, they can log into the ALM accelerator, and here in the left hand side it will list all the solutions in the Power Platform environments. Once it is listed, so this is like a maker environment. Consider this is a dev environment. It will list all the solutions in the dev environment. And if you want to commit a solution, just click on it, and before committing a solution you need to make sure like your profile is selected. In this profile you will be having the which code repository you are going to use it and which branch you are going to use it. All those things will be configured over here. Based on the configuration whatever you have provided, this commit solution pipeline will trigger. It will connect to that source environment, it will export the solution, unpack it, and it will push those unpacked versions into one code repository, and all done from there. And if you click on a deploy, that based on however the test and production environments you have given, then it will pick that managed solution and it will deploy to the test and the production environment. Here we do have a delete solution component, and this is a destructive one. We need to be very careful while playing around with this. If you are deleting any solution, manage the solution, then if you have any custom entity and the data as part of it, then all those will be gone. You will not be able to regain all those things back. So we need to be very careful while using this one. And then import a solution is there. If you want to import a solution from a source control, you'll be able to do it. And this is easy. So here you can see the import a solution. You need to profile, select a profile. You need to select the source and source folder. Where is the source solution source and the solution folder? And here you need to select the environment where you are going to deploy it, and if you click on the import solution, it will pick that solution and it will import it into one respective environment. And manage solution, if you click on it, then it will take you to the developer environments, the make.powerapps.com solutions page. So it will take you over there. And yeah, so these are all the ALM Accelerator, some of the screenshots I have taken it for the new and the advanced makers. For the administrators, it is quite little different, and for the administrators, it is a model driven app. So here you will be able to see. So in few of the places I mentioned, like new maker and the advanced maker, how they are categorizing the new maker and the advanced maker is with this help of this user settings. So you can see here for the new maker, the delete solution is not allowed, import solution not allowed, manage solution not allowed, profile create. So all those things are not allowed actually. So this is completely an admin's responsibility to create onboard the maker into the system. So while onboarding the maker into the system, the admin should be aware of whether he is a new maker or the advanced maker, and what all the user functions you need to provide it for the that particular maker. You will be able to define it from here based on the configuration whatever we are defining. Based on that, they will be getting access to the Canvas app. Okay, and here they will have the deployment profile which we have seen over there, and the deployment request, like who has created that particular deployment and what is the status of it, when this has been created, and whether it is successfully moved or not. So all those things are been able to monitor it from this the model driven app. Okay, and that's it about this the screens. But in order to use this ALM accelerator, and this was the license requirement mainly we required, and we use this following premium power platform features. Like this ALM accelerator uses this premium power platform features. One is like a Dataverse custom connector and the HTTP with the Azure AD connector. So these three are the premium features this ALM accelerator is using it. So in order to use this, we need these three things. So we should be very careful with this. And for makers to use this ALM accelerator, they need this following licenses. One is like Power Apps per user or the per app license, or they need the Azure DevOps basic plan. Since it is going to be an YAML pipeline, everything is going to happen in the Azure DevOps. At least they need the Azure DevOps basic plan, and for Power Apps also, this license is required in order to implement the ALM accelerator. And here are some of the resources for learning this ALM accelerator for Power Platform. I will share those blog links and the video links and the docs and the lab links in the chat window. So you guys can go through this, and if you guys stuck somewhere or if you guys have any questions, then please feel free to reach out to me. And here also I just mentioned the collaboration GitHub URL and frequently asked questions. So all those URLs I will just copy and put it into the chat window so that it would be really useful for you guys to start with. And if you're stuck somewhere, then yeah, as I mentioned, like please feel free to get in touch with me. And I'm flashing my LinkedIn QR code. Yeah, you can scan and you can get in touch with me. And yeah, so I will happy and glad to assist you guys. And yeah.
Thank you so much for taking your time and giving us the session. This is no doubt very useful accelerator. And we do have one question. Noor Muhammad is asking that intrigued to know what type of branching strategy other use with PPALM.
Like see in the dynamics 365 projects, if you take like we will have some branching strategy, like we'll have a master branch, and then for each and every sprint release you can create your own branch, and the developers will be start working on their own feature branches. Once the user story is completed, they will go and merge the changes into the release branch, and at the end of the sprint they will go and deploy all those changes into the that particular release branch changes into the higher environments, and they will merge those into one master branch. So this is just one of the thing which I have implemented. Like yeah, there are lots of way to implement the branching strategy. Yeah, so even this type also, this type of branching strategy also, you can think of it like master branch and having a sprint wise release branch, and developers will can have their own feature branch which is tied to the release branch. And once that particular sprint is done, then you can merge those into one master branch. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And if anyone have more question, you can reach out Dharanidharan on his LinkedIn, and I hope you have sent it earlier.
Yeah.
Okay,
And thank you so much, guys,
thank,
for providing me this wonderful opportunity. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks everyone for
thank you,
joining today.
thank you. Bye.